And this is Tim. I'm with you back on the buzz, and I'm talking about everything, business, tech, entrepreneurship. Like I said, I'm back with more content around, EVs, and that's electric vehicles and the future, right? Future of where EV is going to go. Now, there's a cool story with Audi. Now we have so much of cars coming out in the transportation phase, in the EV space, and talking about Audi. And when you're looking at the EVs now, with Audi, there is basically a lot. There is a Porsche Taycan, and when it's basically coming out, I think if you are looking at a cool design, this is definitely what you need to go for. Because when you're talking about rating, these guys have been rated at 9 out of 10 on Wired, and it's a super cool car. Right now, I'd love to show it to you, but then if you can just go Google it. It was, I think, featured on Avengers. That's the last. It was featured on Avengers on the last the end game. Right now, when this car was featured, it's always Tony Stark that basically comes in the car. He does appearances with the Audi. And when you're looking at the design, it's super sleek, it's super fast as well. But what has actually gotten this to the headlines is the fact that this car has a supercar speed, and that it's still designed with the electric vehicle base. Now, when you're looking at the Porsche Taycan, it's basically super remarkable. I'd say in the lines of how fast they are, how super convenient they are. I mean, my take is, for 80,000 pounds. For 80,000 pounds, I think, if you're looking at longevity, if you're looking at, the concerns, you are looking at saving up, because we talk about a lot of saving when it comes to things like registration, insurance, tickets, parking. There's so many incentives for electric vehicles, right? So if you're looking at the lines of, long-term control or long-term, convenience with pollution, if you're taking these into consideration, you need to understand that there is a method to this. Now this is the future as well. So the reason I'm talking about EVs, or the reason I'm talking about Audis, is because we include electric vehicles in the buzz. We include these in the topics as well. So stay tuned. I'm going to actually show you some videos of who we are at Relaks Radio, and I'll be right back with you. Good. That's right. So now we were talking about how, when it comes to Relaks Radio, we are on, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all streams ready for, convenient for you rather, and anything that you can actually engage with us on. Now, the reason we are with you on these channels is because, when it comes to, today, we want to be, able to bring out the good news, give you the positive vibes, keep you updated with what's going on in the business world, and actually let you know what else you need to actually keep yourself ahead of now in this world, right? Now, part of the conversation that I wanted to bring across with you was, the e-Tron, the new e-Tron, right? Now, this is a flagship design. This is a flagship car that Audi has basically released. Now, it's not, it's, I'd say, a flagship SUV, but they are looking at launching a new one, and this is going as the A3. Now, it's not only beating fossil fuel, but there are significant shifts for this car, because when you're looking at one of the world's largest car manufacturers, this is basically a tipping point, I would say. And then Audi is just like every car company that is basically switching from gasoline or fuel or petrol to EV. They're basically doing a whole rebranding. If it is BMW, if it is we've got. I mean, I saw a cool concept around how, when it comes to Rolls-Royce, they are also in the works of designing an electric or hybrid vehicle. So the importance of this is that when you're looking at all these in the lines of performance, these have to be up to standard. Now, when you're looking at the convenience with opportunities, or when you're looking at convenience with the understanding, and then when you're looking at more opportunity in the lines of when you're looking at more opportunities, that is in the lines of performance, when you're looking at matching with new agencies, new markets. Now, you need to be up to a standard if you're going to be competitively charged over what Tesla is, because they've, I'd say, set the bar. And if you're looking at performing over that, then I'd say in terms of comfort, in terms of aesthetics, in terms of performance. Now, these are the key, driving factors, I'd say, to people. Now, if people do have a commitment or a relationship, a sense of loyalty to a particular brand, they're definitely not going to push for more, I'd say, more money. So that they are going to be sticking to this, but people's minds are changing towards new ideas, new opportunities, new markets, new types of performances. Right now, the e-Tron GT is in fact the sister car to Porsche's Taycan, and these are both based in the Volkswagen Group. Now, these do share much of the same drive tech, even if they look very different from the outside. But when you're talking about the Taycan, this is an electric Grand Tourer, right? Now, this is Ford, car, and then the speciality is that it has supercar performance. Now, a supercar performance. Now, we know Audi is popular for so much of their. We know Audi is popular for so much of their performance, but when you're looking at it in the lines of electric vehicles, is Audi really mature in this market? How is Audi looking at establishing their footprint further? So topic we're covering here is talking about how the e-Tron and the company's reps have basically I'd say you won't even hear EV mentioned in the Tom Hardy front. This is the global ad campaign, right? But it could be easily dismissed as a marketing ploy. Now, Audi seems genuinely excited about the e-Tron GT as a car, but this is not because it's electric. It's because, when you're looking at the two launch versions, these are, the e-Tron GT Quattro and the RS, e-Tron GT. So when we're looking further in the lines of where the Audi, company is looking at taking their designs, I'm going to be breaking down, the performance, the specs, the charging capabilities, the accessories, and so on and so forth. I want you to stay tuned here to figure out, what more they have to offer. So stay tuned here. This is Relaks Radio. I've got a cool couple of topics ready for you. I want you to feel free to message us. You can call us up on 078 07852473473. That is 07852473473. Or you can also WhatsApp, you can DM, you can leave a comment on this video right down below and let me know what your thoughts are on this. We can actually, get a conversation going. Feel free to ask me questions about the new Audi. But before that, I'm going to put you on to a couple of videos showing you who we are at Relaks Radio. That's right. We are Relax Radio, and we are here to talk to you about everything business, tech, entrepreneurship. My name is Tim, and I'm with you on the buzz all the way till 3 p.m. Now, I was talking to you about the Audi e-Tron, right? Now, coming into the specs, we did talk about, a bit of background, the purpose of it. Now, if you're keen on understanding where this company is actually looking at going, now they are looking at a soft ride. And when they're talking about the 469 brake horsepower, the Quattro is basically preferable for a drive in the lines of long distances, because now you either, when it comes to Tesla especially, you either get the short drive with a decent amount of acceleration. You also get superb acceleration without a long ride, and then if you do get $3,000 to $5,000 update, you get at least you get both features. You get the acceleration, also you get the long range. Now, when you're talking about these are all, it's super cool to see how these updates that we had only on phones are now possible on cars, right? Now it's super cool because when you're talking about speed, when you're talking about range, these are a potential few downsides of the GT, because when you're unlocking about 523 horsepower on the Quattro, and this is about 637 brake horsepower on the RS, these increase about 2.5 seconds in the acceleration. That is up to 60 miles per hour, right? Now talking further in the lines of the range. The range is what's important. Now, you need at least 300-mile range on a single charge, right? Now I know the Ford Lightning goes up to about 400 miles easy, but they're pushing for 303 miles here. Now the Ford Lightning, my honest opinion, they've got a ton of chargers. They've got a ton of dockets for charging in the rear, in the front cabin, in the driver's seat. They've got a ton of charging ports, right? Everything's going EV, right? So you need to understand how you can utilize all these. We can actually get into the Ford GT, but if you the Ford Lightning truck, but when you're talking about the 800V architecture, now this means DC charging up to about 270 kilowatts per hour. Now this is possible, which in theory means about 62 miles of range, and this is just in about 5 minutes, right? This is about a 5-minute charge. So let's say you're going for a drive. Let's say you've got to get home in about 50 miles, but then you want to stop for a pit stop. You want to get a couple of snacks or something of that sort. All you need to do is charge the car for just 5 minutes, and you're sorted for the next 60 miles at least, right? So talking about how now there is a bit of anxiety in the lines of what people bring up, because when you're talking about long range, when you're talking about performance, you need to understand that these charging ports have a way of doing another matter. But when you're looking at there is this term of the long range anxiety, right? Now this exterior design is super stylish. It's super clean, and when you're talking about being remarkably close to the original concept car, these basically manage a neat trick of conveying inherent performance without having to shout about it. Now, I'm super for the fact that EVs are coming into the car range, and I'm even all right with the fact that cars are actually performing without e-Tron DNA now, without the initial designers, but the way that completely shifting the narrative. If it is Audi, if it is BMW, if it is Ford, you get all these cars basically creating new emblems for the electric range. I'm super excited about it. To get Jeeps like Hummer, to get companies like GM to push all their vehicles to come towards EV. Now we know the Mustang e-Tron, was the Ford electric Mustang, has basically we know it looks a lot like Tesla. But this has been pushed so far in terms of design, because they've basically sold a ton of cars. I think they've reached the market cap when it comes to sales in the last month. We can actually do another conversation on that. I want to know what your take is on it as well. So feel free to let me know. So you can actually comment on this video. You can call me up on 07852473 coming back to the conversation with the Audi. Now we know the design is stylish. It's super close to being the original concept car, and the neat trick of conveying its inherent performance. Now we know even with the GT, even with the GTRS, the Audi basically they bring in a lot of design from its predecessor, right? So they bring in a lot of design. They have some sort of if it is the lights, if it is the rims, if it is the height of the rims, if it is the doors, the lining of the doors, the aerodynamics, they have some sort of similarity with these with the prior cars, right? The older versions. Now here, that's the thing. You're completely free to design what you want to, because there's no prior design in that particular model, right? So if you're looking at paying a bit extra for the Matrix LED headlights, if you're looking at laser high tech systems that can basically arrow the road in front of you. Now this is augmented reality integrated with performance, right? So if you're looking at all these hacks, you can basically project for movies to for go onto the walls. You can basically push for Audi to push in the lines of optional, creating impromptu drive-in movies that won't be offered. Now, I mean, the list goes on, right? I wanna keep you guys updated on all this. Now, there's a lot of conversation on back seats. There's a lot of conversation around the electric futuristic timber, and talking about how the suitability premium and even the texture of the wood, right? Now, there's a lot. It looks super cool with lighting. It looks super cool with the comfort and the headlight, the highlights about the fact that it's an EV. I'll be getting into all these soon. I want you to stay tuned here on The Buzz and let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your questions are. You can actually call me up on 07852473473, or you can also, let me know on the comments below. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe on the videos. Now, videos here, if you're watching on Facebook, there's a follow icon, so you don't click that, so you don't miss any of our live shows. You can also click the bell button on YouTube, so you don't miss any of our live shows. Now, I'm going to be putting you onto some videos to show you who we are at Relaks Radio, and I'll be right back with all this news on the Porsche EV. Now, talking about how the car in the e-Tron, at least, that is basically launching later. Now, when you're looking at what's frustrating, these are emitting the sounds externally, but people that are used to hearing sounds might need this full speaker setup that basically gauges how much of performance you're putting, how much of torque you're pushing out of it, how much of acceleration you're pushing out of it. So to talk about full speaker setup, these are optional solutions that you can actually invest in when you're buying the car. And when you're looking at an ungenerous move, these are not only in keeping with the spirit of the rest of the car, but when you're looking at the supercar pace, it is easy to drive. And with this grip, with the handling, with the agility, steering, and I mean, now we've seen how Mercedes is also releasing a super looking EV down the line. They're definitely going to use Lewis Hamilton to promote it. But as just as fast as the Taycan Turbo can go, the Tesla Model S, and then talking about how the aesthetic department on this have a sportier sibling, right? Now the range is basically going to push for at least a 500 mile on the Tesla, that is basically the Tesla Model S. And when you're looking at build quality, Audi customers feel Audi customers are not too worried about complaining about the build quality, because it is guaranteed that it is I'd say a few notches above Tesla. But I mean, we need to keep in mind that the Tesla is also designed for price, right? The reason they want to price it as such, they've got options to invest in each if you want them, simply because you need to spend the base, and then it's afterwards that you actually start spending out on various options. So when you're looking at the Quattro, when you're looking at the entry level Quattro, this is priced at, I said, £80,000, and this is cheaper than the updated Model S. So I mean, perhaps what's more commendable about the GT is that if you're talking about the architecture of the Taycan, it is very different to the car that Porsche embodies. And then when you're talking about the EV platforms, you need to understand that there is a brand Twitter built for eating up the miles, right? And now Audi's new flagship is basically an assured success. And the company may not want to highlight it as an EV, but I mean, people would be quite happy if they did, right? Now this is the buzz, guys. When I'm talking about business tech entrepreneurship, you know where you need to be all the way till 3 p.m. So if you are at office, if you are at home, if you are working from home or wherever you are, just feel free to stay tuned in so you can actually listen to a lot of conversation around business tech entrepreneurship, keeping you updated with all the latest news that basically you need to know when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the UK. So what I've got for you is a couple of cool topics coming down in the lines of working from home as well. So stay tuned. I'll be right back with you very soon. Good evening. This is Tim from Relaks Radio on the bus.